Next dong, Rubes.
Good day, sir. I am Engine Cadet Rubia Anthony from the Group 5. So, as for our given topic, we are assigned to discuss the environmental crisis. So, next slide, please. So, one of the topic able us to talk about the relationship of population growth to environmental issues. So, as we all know, population is rapidly far outpacing the ability of our planet to support it, given current practices. Overpopulation is associated with negative environmental and economic outcomes, ranging from the impacts of overfarming, deforestation, and water pollution to eutrophication and global warming. So, population growth have significant roles to play in the sustainability of the world's vast resources. Not only the number of people, but also the lifestyle consumption patterns and the regions people inhabit and use directly affect the environment. The relationship between population growth and environmental issues may appear to be rather straightforward. More, more people demand more resources and generate more waste. So clearly, one of the challenges of a growing population is that the mere presence of so many people sharing a limited number of resources. So, but when looking at the impact of human activities, the situation is more complicated due to the wide variety of government policies and technologies, and also the consumption patterns worldwide. So the link between population growth and the environment is found somewhere else, between the view that population growth is solely responsible for all environmental ills and the view that more people means the development of new technologies to overcome any environmental problems. Population growth is only one of several interacting factors that place pressure in the environment. So to sum it up, so makita ra jud nato ang relationship sa population sa mga environmental issues. So makita nyo sa picture, kung magkadaghan ang mga population, magkadako sa daang chance na disable na kaayo ang mga environmental issues sa usa ka place. So population growth really brought a big impact to any environmental issues as it in some cases the reason for deforestation, pollution, biodiversity loss, climate change, global warming, and etc. So to listen this issue, we have to health environment protection as a practice of protecting the natural environment on the individual, organizational, or governmental levels for the benefit of both for the environment and humans. So that's all for my report.
So, good day. I am Engine Cadet Salvador. I am here to discuss about the relationship of population growth to food security. So, what is food security? So, as per UN, food security is defined as means that all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their food preference and dietary needs for an active and healthy lifestyle. So, how population growth affects food security? So why population matters to food security? So, almost 1 in 7 people around the world are chronically hungry, lacking enough food to be healthy and lead active lives. This is despite the fact that enough food exists for all the world's people. Agricultural policies that prices certain food commodities such as meat and grain and economic development hugely impact food security, but demographic trends also play a role. So, increasing numbers of people or population growth often drives up demand for food, which typically results in additional use of arable land and water. So this is especially true in absence of adequate food production technology and integrated programs that simultaneously address community needs, food for health, and production. So here are some, next slide please. Here are the three factors that leads to food insecurity that which will lead to food crisis and affects the environment or leads to environmental crisis. So a country's ability to feed itself very much depends on three factors. So first is availability of arable land, second is accessible water, and third is population pressure. So the more people there are, especially in poor countries with limited amounts of land and water, the fewer resources there are to meet basic needs. So if basic needs cannot be met, development stalls and economies begin to unravel. In some poor countries, attempts to increase food production and consumption are undermined by rapid population growth. Migration from rural to urban areas, unequal land distribution, shrinking land holdings, deepening rural poverty, widespread land degradation, lower birth rates, and along with better management of land and water resources are necessary to avoid chronic food shortage. So here is why food insecurity or food crisis leads to sa environmental crisis. So food crisis equation has three main components. So first is the lifestyle, incomes, and social organization determines level of consumption. Second is the technologies in the use determine both the extent to which human activities damage or sustain the environment and the amount of waste associated in a given level of consumption. So poverty may prevent the adoption for more appropriate technologies that could halt or slow down environment degradation. These two factors determine the importance on individuals. Inequality enters as a third factor when, for example, most of the land is in large holdings and the poor are forced to live in a small holdings or in marginal area. So a fourth factor is the population. So acts as the multiplier that determines the total impact of population. So next slide please. So population growth and the food crisis. So here more na akong explain. So population is always part of the equation. So for any given type of technology, level of consumption or waste in poverty or inequality, the more people there are, the greater the impact on the environment. So in turn, the greater the impact on food production capacity. So land fragmentation affects food production and direct results of rapid population growth in many poor countries. So often land holdings are too small to provide a tolerable livelihood has been turned into part-time farms with some household members. So migrates in search of wage and employment. So alternative land is sold to wealthier landowners, making land distribution more uneven and adding to the creation of large pool of landless laborers. In addition, rapid population growth can lead to inappropriate farming practices that impoverish and erode the soil. So reduced vegetation, overuse, and improper use of agrochemicals, infiltrate water resource management. So the result of such environmental crisis practices, which is the severe land degradation. So that's all for my report.
So, good day, sir. I am Engine Cadet Villaester, and I'm from the Group 5, and I am here to discuss about the topic, what is the relationship of population growth to sustainability? So, the first thing is we have to discuss about what is sustainability. So, sustainability focuses on meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. So, as we know that the environmental crisis can be a big a factor, or it can affect the lifestyle of people, and the question is how can we sustain that environmental crisis? And as it is shown in the picture that there's the product, process, and people, that's why we do something today about the problems in order for it also can benefit us, not only us but also for the future generation. So the next is the three pillars of sustainability. So we have the social, environmental, and economic sustainability. So for the social sustainability aims to preserve social capital by investing and creating services that constitute the framework of our society. So the concept accommodates a larger view of the world in relation to communities, cultures, and globalization. It means to preserve the future generation and to acknowledge that we can have an impact on others and on the world. So social sustainability focuses on maintaining and improving social quality with concepts such as cohesion, reciprocity, and honesty, and the importance of relationships amongst people. So in the social sustainability, it for me, if we cannot sustain the social problems within that society, so then this will really greatly affect the lifestyle, not only ours but also the lives lives of the future generation that will live in that society. Next is the economic sustainability. So with the economic sustainability, it aims to maintain the capital intact. If social sustainability focus on improving the social equality, so the economic sustainability aims to improve the standard of living. So if we base sa pag-start sa pandemic, ang ang nahitabo sa atong economy pag-start pa sa pandemic kay nag-declining due to many people has lost their jobs, and kay tungod sa mga companies have gone bankrupt, and some companies have closed for a while due to the COVID. But for now, as I have observed, then it is gradually increasing, because since some companies have reopened already and most people have been creative enough to start their own businesses, especially using the online platform. So next is the environmental sustainability. So the environmental sustainability aims to improve human welfare through the protection of natural capital like the air, water, etc., lands, minerals, and etc. So initiative and programs are defined environmental sustainability when they ensure that the needs of the population are met without the risk of compromising the needs of future generation. So in the environmental sustainability, for for example, in cities where there is big floods, kanang cities na magbaha na nasa riverside, kay we know that the problem that is causing of that is that the pollution, like throwing trashes in the river, and this flood can really affect the lifestyle of the people on that city or on that city. So since that can affect, so we are responsible with sustaining it. So what we must do in order to sustain that problem, so that environmental problem, so we must minimize by throwing trashes, not rather than only minimizing, but we must be disciplined enough not to throw trashes in the riverside. So because that can really cause a flood, and it affects the lifestyle of people, like they can't go to job due to the flood. And also this is not only applicable on the river but also on the land, like throwing trashes everywhere, because that is the, let's say, the trash is really the cause of the flood. So next, what is the relationship of population growth to sustainability? So as far as is it directly proportional or inversely proportional? So as far I have think about it, I I I can say that the population growth and sustainability is inversely proportional, because in if the population growth is increasing, and the chances of sustainability will be low, and vice versa, if the population growth is decreasing, then the sustainability will be high. So as we know that population growth can affect, if it's increasing, it can really affect the consumption, production, employment, income distribution, poverty, and social protections, including pensions. They also have complicate our efforts to ensure universal access to health, education, housing, sanitation, water, food, and energy. So population growth in particular places increasing pressures on the planet's resources like the water, forests, land, and earth atmosphere, contributing to climate change and challenging environmental sustainability. However, population dynamics do not only affect critical development objectives, they are themselves affected by social, economic, environmental changes. But despite these problems, that is, and there is also important opportunities that is given despite the challenges. So a fall in fertility levels and slower population growth, for example, leads to increased concentration of the population in working age range, which can enable countries to reap a demographic bonus and jumpstart economic development. So migration can be important enabler of social and economic development. Today, more than a billion of people rely on international and internal migration to escape from poverty and conflict. So adapt to environment and economic shocks and improve income, health, education of their families. Annual remittance to developing countries alone approach $500 billion, triple the amount of ODA, while potential savings from reducing migration costs could be the similar scale. So urbanization can be a powerful driver of sustainable development. Higher population density enables government to easily deliver essential infrastructure and services in urban areas at relatively low cost per capita. Livable and sustainable cities have knock-off effects in terms of providing rural populations with great access to services such as education and healthcare, while also empowering them economically. Furthermore, urbanization can produce energy savings, particularly in housing and transportation sectors. So, population dynamics are the result of individual choices and opportunities to address the opportunity of population dynamics for sustainable development. Countries should seek to enlarge, not to restrict individual rights. Countries should work to expand people's choice, resourcefulness, creativity, and resilience by adopting policies that are human rights based and gender responsive. Because rights based and gender responsive policies such as promoting universal access to sexual and reproductive health and rights, including voluntary family planning, and to education, including comprehensive sexuality education, can make the world of difference for people and societies. So, how can we know if the city a sustainable city? So we can consider a city as a sustainable city when there is a strong social, economic, and environmental performances. They have a good scores when it comes to air pollution, of public transportation, and the number of education employed people, and the percentage of the green spaces, the energy consumption, and drinking water. So the example of a sustainable city is the Singapore. As we can really see that Singapore is a very nice country with a really clean country, because we know about the rumors about Singapore when you throw trash, they are very disciplined, because when you throw trash, you are fine like that. And that's all for my part